It is time for a Potter's Journal book review. This is my Potter's Journal. We are here at the Southside Historic Village. Going to visit the Mercer one-room schoolhouse.
Well, you don't think there's a whole lot of misbehaving.
And today I've got a book review for Old English Pottery. I know you don't watch those videos. You saw the hat. You're the dunce. We're only going to look at the pictures. Okay, it's time for a Potter's Journal book review here at the Southside Historic Village.
You'll see stuff like this going all the way back to colonial times. So the long pole and the mule, and then inside here is the spindle, and there'll be a couple of wooden or metal bars, which is just like a blender. Only looks very, very smooth.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm glad to find somebody who's enjoying that book as much as I have.
All you do is take...
Because at some point, if you throw too much history at people visiting the historic village, they'll just get bored to death with that.
Too much. This is the only little place. I'm sure I can't get down low enough.
Yeah, I have things from different eras. The redware would be the oldest, and this is fashioned after the salt glaze stuff, well known from the 1800s, and contemporary stuff there like I do today.
The glazed ovenware, yes. They still make stuff like this over in Europe, especially in Germany. Roasters, big clay roasters with lids on them for slow cooking things. Oh, here they are. There you go, page number 80. A clone oven.
There's what I wanted to catch you to.
Yep. And this goes all the way back here to the time of Elizabeth the First in England. Contractors would order this from a pottery, and then they bring it to the site, and then would build it into your...
Usually into those big open fireplaces, sometimes into the side.
Yes. Yeah, and they would call that was called a clone oven. C-L-O-A-M.
Did they get the spelling right in there?
No, they just said bread oven here.
Okay. Well, there's actually not much written about it. It might be just that page and a little bit on the one before.
I was really surprised that at that time, they made so many of these.
Yeah. Because
everybody had them. And it was sort of like going to the local hardware store and buying a barbecue oven. You know, a barbecue.
Yeah. Well, that was the first, I think that's the first image I ever saw, and that's a sketch.
And that's very accurate.
Yeah. Glad you spotted the ham pan.
But yeah, I was hoping to get some information on that pan placement.
All right, you know that what modern day, this would be those old speckled roasting pans you probably see. That was the equivalent back then.
Actually, it's the first part of the book, I think, that has the forms in it. It then goes into the process and some of the tools, so it was the very first part that held a lot of fascination with the different forms.
Well, as I said, when I was young,
you're useful.
Every household
something happens to me, I'm not going to be able
to salt glaze pottery.
He said, okay. He said,
and
I feel
those were your everyday dishes.
Well, I do appreciate the opportunity.
That was your everyday cooking stuff.
Things that I help out.
Now here's something about geology for you. If you're looking for clay especially kaolin,
Yeah.
high temperature clay.
Yeah, I heard the name, yeah. I know.
You will generally find that layered right above a coal seam.
It's beautiful.
And I've seen it so many times, it's almost like a rule of nature. For some reason, that's where you look for that.
Okay, so in addition to the forms, you're going to find the clay there interesting too, because you have done, as you said, bricks and tile.
That's still a big part of my business.
Did you say you did with bricks, or you?
Yeah, we make them.
Yeah. Okay.
See, a lot of times I do a lot of restoration work, and a lot of times what they want is they want you to use original materials, which means like for wrought iron. All right, there's only one place that I know of that still makes wrought iron, and that's in India. Alright, so sometimes we actually have to melt our own iron, and then we bring them to somebody like Josh who knows what they're doing, and then they make something out of it. But yeah, what we do normally is, in the old days, they would dig a clay pit where they were going to build a building. And then the bricks would be made from the earth out of that clay pit.
Alright, well I bet you
So
go to the
sometimes
demolition
you have to
area,
go
but it's pleasure to
around
meet you. I don't know if you're
and
shaking
search
hands,
the property or search
I don't
nearby
mind, I'm not
property
worried about it,
to
but
find
I hope
out
you're
where
doing
they
well.
got the
Thank you very
clay.
much. This is really
And you
beautiful. I
dig
love
that
it.
up and make new
This is so
bricks
awesome.
so that they match the ones in the building that you're trying to renovate or replicate.
Okay. Well, this is beautiful. I love
Yeah,
it.
well, it's,
I'll get one
even
of those
here to
papers.
see the many different methods they had, and they're even digging up the remnants of some of the clay pits or the processing areas.
Here's a part mill. Those date all the way back to the Roman times. Basically, you know what a pug mill is, don't you? I'm
Yeah,
sure you do.
yeah.
But the real old-fashioned ones aren't horizontal, they're vertical. And you have a big spindle in there, and you have a bunch of really heavy bars of wood. And it's sort of like a very slow-speed grinder. And you would have a horse or a mule that would pull a long pole, which would provide the force to turn the spindle.
Yeah, it's not something I paid a lot of attention to.
Well, it takes a lot of force to do that because
well, because since I'm fortunate enough to be able to get it in a bag ready to use.
Play by their feet, yes.
I was glad that's the process I was glad to find, because it's hard to find information on just what and how they were doing to wedge clay with their feet. The only thing I saw, like on YouTube, was in Africa with pieces of plastic. Which is more a contemporary method. They didn't have plastic. But there's a good description of this in there too.
Well, the way this works is that your leg muscles are the strongest muscle in your body. And also, the average male being 150, 160 pounds, you have all that weight going down on your feet. So you have that force.
And you're talking about average weight in that day, not in today's day. Oh, back to our standard weights and measurements.
No.
We always get into that. No matter what, we always fall back on standard weights and measurements.
They've been fighting.
I don't know what the average.
Well, they're having a good time doing it.
No, I don't know what the average weight is for a male in the United States now. We can look that up.
Okay.
Where?
I promise I won't do it. Now, when I was young, there was no such thing as a plastic flower pot.
Yeah.
So everything was made out of terracotta, and a lot of that was imported. Like in Austria, most of the terracotta flower pots came from southern Italy, for example.
Well, I have a guy that's
Well, after, oh, okay, yeah, you're to that part now. He visits two potteries that were, I guess, still in operation, or still had somebody going in them, and one of them was flower pots.
I don't know that your hand's big enough. Here.
From the 2-inch or the 6-inch up to the whatever. Oh, I mean, from the small to the El Grande. I think
I'll tell you what, maybe tomorrow.
you know, he didn't even measure them by the weight of the clay. He just went like that and like that on the wheel, and then centered a little bit and knew if he needed a little more clay. And had to have them a certain size so they could stack one inside the other. I believe the one guy, Isaac, I think, Button, there was a film made about in the 60s. I just read this, so I didn't have time to look it up. It's probably on YouTube. I may have even seen it.
I would see if your hand's a little
Yeah.
wider.
If you, like you have a big blob of dough on the bench, all right, and you have to cut out like a 1-pound piece of dough, you take your bunch knife and you cut like a square, and you put that on the scale, you say, oh, right on, you got a pound. Well, you look at that, all right, and then you try to duplicate that. And after like the first hour, first 15 minutes or so, at first when you start, you're going to be off. But after about 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to be almost spot on, just by eyeballing it. And that's what they're doing. He's done this for so long that he can tell by feel how much weight he has.
I do it with a scale.
Okay.
And at some point, you know, I know that I need a big piece or a little piece to add to the scale, but he's doing it completely without the scale.
One of the things that we did when I was young, and we still do it now, like when making tile stoves, is we take glass bottles, you know, like green glass or blue glass or whatever, and we crunch the bottles up, powder the glass, and then we mix that with very fine clay to make a slip. And that's what you glaze the tiles with. And then when you fire them in the oven, then you get blue tiles or green tiles, and that's what you put on the side of your oven, so your tile stove makes your That's very traditional.
The dye, use different natural dyes and varieties, yarn, and
well,
now sometimes
even some of the potteries in the south, like in Seagrove, North Carolina, that area, where they were grinding glass with a, you know, a thing in a stream that goes like that.
Yes.
And
a water.
Well, it seems like now they're actually developing glazes to replicate. Well, especially the ones that had lead in them, or some of the older glazes that were maybe not as food safe. But those glazes were some of them were so highly thought of that there's some bit of trying to replicate them in with a safe glaze.
Well, all I know is that when I was young, the thing about the salt glazed pottery is that they would put it in the furnace and they would get it like it was like yellow. It had to be yellow. And yellow heat is what they called it.
Long past red and orange and
yellow.
I would think it's usually almost white. I think.
That's for the like the high temperature pottery, like China clay, kaolin, and stuff like that. All right. Well, they would get it up to yellow, and then what they would do is they would take big handfuls of rock salt and they would throw it into the kiln. And apparently that would vaporize, and then cover the pottery, and that was, they called that salt glazed pottery, and that was ideal for kitchen stuff because it was entirely waterproof and it was safe. It wasn't poisonous or anything.
An update for you on the technique at Jugtown Pottery in Seagrove, where they have been doing this for multiple generations, and actually longer than that outside this, or in other families too. But they now are using a leaf, or what do you call it? A leaf blower. And feeding it through with a leaf blower.
Like a powder salt.
Yes, to get even and better distribution in the kiln.
Oh, that's really clever.
I happened to catch them on the day of the firing. They were still dumping it in by hand in the back, but in the front, yeah, it was with the weed. They had a little funnel that they hooked up to the weed whacker, and
before the war, all right, they were making in England, they would make the bottom part of the bread pot out of clay, and the lid would be out of tin, and then put a couple of holes in that for air, so the bread could breathe.
Yeah, well, no, I'm glad you explained the bread trough to me, because that completely mystified me, and I think others too, because I've heard somebody else ask what is a bread trough, and I just thought, well, you can't store bread in it, because the ones I saw, I think, were contemporary interpretations and were not very big. So that's why I thought it was for raising the dough. I thought it was for raising the dough, and that you warmed it for a drafty cold house. But
actually, that's a pretty good idea.
Actually, maybe, how much do you really know for fact? Is that possible that it might have been used for both even?
No.
No, okay.
That's the British, that's a unique British interpretation of everybody else's wooden bread box.
Okay. Yeah, that's the only place I've ever ran across it too, was English Pottery.
Yeah.
Or a book like this from Pottery.
British.
Yeah.
I've never seen it anywhere else, so you won't find it in France, or Italy, or Germany.
It's interesting too that some things are universally used, and then you get something that is only found a place in the kitchen here and really nowhere else.
Now, if you look all the way over in this side of the photograph, you see that big thing here? Do you know how much you would pay for something like that now? That would probably be about $400 if you could find one. Now see, that's big enough to be a clay sink, which are really trendy now. And they use cow patties, cow dung patties that have also been dried in the sun.
In the Southwest as well, yeah.
And they will make a big mound of this clay pots, and they will pile cow patties in between them and around them and over top of them, and then they'll light that up, and that's what they use to fire their pots with. And those dry cow patties make really good fuel.
Yeah, well, if you want to bring the fuel in, we'll have to do that some year here at the village.
That would be a lot.
I have thought that's the one thing we could do once is the firing, is a pit firing of some kind.
Yeah, and if we videotaped it, that would be a good demonstration project.
It's enough work just to make pie plates here. I'm not jumping into that one. But I know Bob Rupert was mentoring some young people here. If anybody ever came, some young person ever came along, and he had the energy and the enthusiasm, it would be a great time to do something like that.
Bob has my utmost respect. As a craftsman, I've dealt with a lot of iron workers before, and as an artistic iron worker, that guy's terrific. The technique that he knows, the stuff that he's learned over the years. I visited him a number of times in his studio.
Okay.
Oh, he has a really nice studio.
You know, I never have. I dropped something off once at Christmas, but
talking about Arvo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a nice studio out there.
Yeah.
He got a nice setup.
What a lot of people don't
I'm a
know
gardener, and I've never even stopped to see her garden
is that
either.
how good of a reputation he has.
Oh yeah, if you go to the blacksmithing community, he's got a real good reputation.
Well, even among architects.
Yeah.
If you ask people like who are in the top 20 blacksmiths in North America for doing artistic ironwork, he's always in that group.
Yeah.
But he's very quiet. He never says anything about it.
He's always going up there to teach class and stuff. When he's feeling good up there on 40 up there in Uniontown, he got up there a lot. Then he had buddies out in Arizona. I guess he's got visit. They did a lot of work
He's
up there.
exceptional. Some of the stuff I've seen that he's done.
Oh yeah.
Really impressive.
Yeah. Stop back and see what pottery book me and the baker review at the Southside Historic Village next year.
That's my favorite. Yeah, so neat.
On the wall, but now they have it.
Yeah. You better know the other one. Who's the first president?